to the Gone Gold podcast. I'm your host, Simon Hill, and we are here for our first episode with the one and only Adam Flex Maxted, the self-proclaimed dropkick king. We speak about everything from his appearance on Love Island, his wrestling career including matches against Drew Galloway and Ridge Holland, as well as some of those fun facts that you didn't know about Adam Flex Maxted. Without further ado, let's get into it. Here it is. So Adam, thank you for joining me on the Gone Gold podcast. Firstly, how are you? How are you surviving, in this kind of pandemic? You look nice and fit and healthy. I assume everything's going well.
Touch wood, I'm feeling good. I'm wearing a hat. I'm not being rude or anything by wearing a hat, but I really need a haircut because usually I have that sweet fade going on, and to be honest, touch wood, that's like my biggest problem is like I need a haircut. Touch wood, feeling good, feeling healthy. But I did another podcast and stuff like recently and things, and I think I just said like what makes it easier is that you're not going through this like by yourself. Like everyone's in the same position, there can be times in your life when, stuff might not be going good or you might be depressed and stuff and you feel like you're by yourself or like, why is everyone else is fine and like, I'm going through this, but with this situation, it's out of our control and, everyone's going through it at the same time and, all we got to do is listen to the guidelines that we're hearing and stuff and hopefully we'll all, bounce back from it and be ready to go again soon. So, touch wood, everything's good with me though. Thank you.
No, well, it's good to hear, and I think you're right there. I think we're all going to come out stronger after this, aren't we? At the end of the day, it's been testing times, but we come back stronger, kind of more switched on, I guess.
Motivated, like
absolutely.
I said as well, like there's no better time now than to invest in yourself. If for example, if you've got an injury, like if you're a wrestler and before this happened you were injured, or it probably couldn't have happened at a better time for you to like have a bit of a rest and now get your body and get your mind ready to go again and set goals. Like we all have so much time in our hands now because we're pretty much stuck indoors, so invest that time in trying to better yourself or setting goals and setting a plan in action so that whenever you are ready to go again and we get the green light that we can go back to the way life was, then we're ready to smash it instead of just going back into sort of the same routine. Try and be productive with the time that we have now.
That's it, spot on. And one thing I've noticed about you, Adam, is you're very, very motivational focused. You watch motivational videos, listen to motivational podcasts and things like that. And is that something that you've done for a long time to kind of get in that mindset, that focus of having that great physique, being this really confident performer in whatever you do? Is that something that's been a part of Adam Maxted for a long time?
Probably, to be honest, this might sound weird, but I probably got that side of me from my mum. Right. She was a single parent. I've never met my dad. I was in foster care and stuff for a bit when I was growing up because my mum was unwell and stuff. And, there was a chance that she wasn't going to get me back and stuff. Like they were going to take me off my mum because she physically wasn't able to look after me and stuff. And she used me. She's even told me she wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for me back from foster care. So even then when she did get me back, being a single parent, then she had my sister and she just always motivated and inspired us to just constantly keep pushing for more. We might not have a lot of money and stuff, but I think the fact that I am this big bubbly character, when you meet me and stuff, I'm just a happy guy because I think growing up I knew I was loved by my mum and I got bullied and stuff because I was a mummy's boy and I still am. I'm still just a big mummy's boy, but definitely growing up, when there was hard times, my mum was just always pushing for more and never really let us see as kids that stuff was getting to her and stuff. She always just put on a brave face, and I think that kind of has passed on to me and my as an adult now, kind of just you only get one life, you only get one opportunity. You can sit and dwell and be negative about things, or you can just get up off your ass and just make put a plan of action and just do the work. And then obviously my mum was a personal trainer as well, so that's where I got the fitness side of things growing up. My mum, she worked in a gym, and when I was 17, 18, she started bringing me along, and then that's when I started working out and just got the bug for it. And people struggle with diet and stuff as they get older, but because there's always been good food in my house growing up, because my mum was always healthy and she was always teaching aerobics and fitness classes, there's always good food, so I didn't know any other way. So I guess I'm lucky in a way that I can kind of touch wood, eat what I want. I eat junk food, I eat bad food, but I think I never really struggle with like, oh, I'm on a diet, especially when you're a wrestler, because you like have no off season. You're in your trunks like every week. Footballers get time off, but eat well during the week, especially because, and it's never a problem for me because I've always grown up like in a good sort of fitness background. So, but definitely like my motivation stuff has came from my mum being that strong, figure in my life and stuff. And yeah,
and
just
I mean, that's
just could talk all day about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, we share some similarities there, but I won't go into my details. But, that must have been obviously hard for you growing up, but that would have also, I guess, talking to you now, driven you at a young age to kind of go, right, this is what I want to do, this is how I'm going to achieve it. What was the mindset as a young adult, I guess, from 18 to what the transition is now for Adam Maxted?
I just always had this mindset of like, I'm going to be someone, or like I'm going to be remembered. Kind of like I want to leave a mark in the world where my name is remembered. And although it might only be in the wrestling world, like at least if that's what my passion is and that's what I want to do, so at least if I can make a mark in that, in this industry, in this business, in sort of the years to come, and hopefully with my career and progression and hopefully the success that comes in the future, hopefully then I'll be real happy if I can leave behind like I watched the Ric Flair thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Austin asked, Austin asked him like what's Ric Flair's legacy, and he just wants to be remembered like the more good things than obviously the bad things. And obviously Ric Flair's incredible and had but if I can hopefully in the future be known as just being a good guy, a good person, and just a guy that hopefully can go on to have a great career in wrestling. I'm proud of the progress that I've made in like literally 3 years kind of. I haven't been doing this that long. It's maybe touching on 4 years now since I did my first kind of training session. And I'm real happy with, obviously the progress I've made and how things are looking like they're going in the future when the world gets back to normal, hopefully.
Well, let's talk about that, because you've already, as you say, only 4 years in, you've already kind of blown onto the scene. You've become this really well-respected wrestler, hardworking, dedicated, determined, with already some really big matches behind you. One in particular that stands out is with the recently crowned WWE champion, Drew McIntyre. You had a match, a very good match, against him at OTT at Scrapmania. He came out at the end of that match and said that you were the future. How was that feeling to have somebody like that kind of, put you over in front of a crowd?
Because I didn't know he was going to do that. So, like, the story is, so what was it? Yeah, so obviously Joe that runs OTT, he told me like, okay, I'm going to have you against Drew in Belfast. But I didn't know Drew was like going back to WWE at this point. So I had no idea. So basically, I remember I was at WrestleMania, or NXT TakeOver, which would have been in Orlando, I believe, that year. So it was like 3 years ago. And I'm sat there watching and stuff, and then Drew just comes up on the screen as if like he's back, and like people are going crazy and stuff. And I was just like, but I've got a match against him in like 3 weeks' time, like at OTT. So I was like, well, look, sitting in the crowd, I was like, well, clearly that's not going to happen now. Like my match is gone because now he's back at WWE. And then I messaged Joe and he was like, nah, don't worry, the match that's still going to happen and stuff. So I'm sitting there like, flip, like Drew's back in WWE and now I've got a match against him. So like I was real nervous and stuff, and like that was my biggest match at that point to date. And just to put, like, Drew is just like, he's such a professional. He lives for this business. He like backstage he was so like good with me, and just I can't speak highly enough of the guy. Like he was an absolute gentleman and a machine in the ring. Like 3 people, Rampage, Drew and Ridge Holland from NXT UK. Like they're the 3 guys that have thrown me about the ring like I'm nothing. And like I'm a big guy, as you know, but those guys just have crazy strength. And obviously we had a good match in Belfast, my hometown, and then for him to get on the mic afterwards and say what he did say, like I didn't know he was going to do that at all. From afar, like he could see like the hard work that I've put in and like my attitude and like how I'm not just a guy that just wants to make money from wrestling, how it's actually what I want to do and stuff. And like then for him to say that in the future as well was like, because obviously he was told that, but like he wouldn't have just said that, if he wasn't just there to like do a promo, and like he meant stuff. So I remember to stand there being like, my head was just like, what's going on right now?
and again, going in, was that something you felt you needed to capitalize on? Someone of that caliber, those kind of matches you're having against these guys, the likes of Ridge Holland as well. He's certainly making a name for himself these days. To have that, is that something you felt, right, I need to capitalize on this straight away because, these guys are getting around?
Yeah, because like I wrestle a lot, obviously, at Butlins, which is very, like, child friendly, and it's family entertainment, and like I love it. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm like the biggest baby face on our Butland show, and I'm like Sting, and like there's times when kids are actually crying when I lose one of my matches and stuff, like tears. So it's incredible to see that you can have that sort of effect and get that emotion from families and kids. And there's like the adrenaline rush you get from just the Butlins, because there's probably like over 1,000 people that are all packed in watching the show, and it's honestly it's an incredible feeling. But I felt like there was times when I was going to get put in that box of like, oh, Adam, he's just that sort of camp style wrestler, like the Butlins sort of, like holiday camp. So the fact that Joe, especially at OTT, and recently at ICW and stuff, I've been starting to get these kind of big indie matches against big names. It's kind of been a challenge for me to prove that, like, for one, no, I'm like happy-go-lucky Butlins wrestler, and two, like I'm not just a reality TV star. Like these are opportunities for me to show that I can hang with the best wrestlers, best independent wrestlers in the world, and like Drew, Pete Dunne, Pac, Mark Haskins, like they're probably like the 4 big matches that I've had at OTT. I've came out and I've had good matches against them, and I've turned a lot of heads and like changed people's opinions of me, and people are like starting to take notice. And I felt like before this sort of pandemic happened with the world, I was really starting to build some good momentum, like as you saw.
Yeah.
Even with the Kings of the North and stuff at TNT and stuff, I hadn't been back there in like 2 years maybe since I tagged with Charlie Sterling, and I came back and I fitted in well with them, and I believe in myself that when the world goes back to normal, I'll sort of pick up where I left off, and touch wood, the body feels good, it's getting a good rest, and I'm just ready to go again.
No, I mean, with the what I've seen of you, Adam, I mean, obviously the reaction you got when you came to TNT Extreme Wrestling, the crowd were ecstatic to see you with the Kings of the North. What's it like working with those guys? Possibly the best tag team in Europe at the moment.
Absolutely.
How has it been working with those? You've worked with them obviously at OTT, TNT, and various other promotions. How's that been with the guys?
Like Corbin and Bone, so none of this. They're 2 guys that helped train me at the very start of my career as well. Up in Belfast, they were running a training school. So they've really been with me since the start of my career. Like I used to travel. I used to get a bus down to Dublin to train with Drew McIntyre, who runs OTT, and then I get a bus back up after training and stuff, and then I'd be training in Belfast because I just wanted to train. And the scene, especially in Ireland, 3 or 4 years ago, it wasn't as big as obviously it is now, and that's down to the hard work that Joe's done to make OTT the massive, independent wrestling promotion that it is, like around the world. But Corbin and Alan, they anytime Joe was looking to bring in a big tag team to OTT, it was Bonesaw and Corbin that were getting those matches, and they smashed. They smashed every opportunity that they were given. And like anytime you go on Twitter and there's chance of, like, for example, the Revival, they've just been released, and all of a sudden you see like Bonesaw Corbin, like they're just that well respected. They're they're incredible. Sometimes in a tag team, one guy can maybe think that maybe they're going to go on to be a single star, or just it might have been 2 singles guys that all of a sudden get put in a tag team, and you can just tell that the chemistry isn't there. But with the Kings of the North, with Bonesaw and Al and Corbin, you can just tell that these are 2 guys that have grown up together in the wrestling industry for over 10 years. They respect each other, and they give their all to that tag team. They're fully invested in it, and for me to then be a part of it, especially they trained me, and now all of a sudden I'm in the ring tagging with them, is a great learning experience for me as well, because I was just a singles guy, whereas now team with them, I'm learning more about tag team wrestling, and just how that side of matches work and stuff. So can't speak enough about being in the ring with two of my good friends in the wrestling industry.
They're fantastic performance, but you certainly held your own in that match and in several other matches that I've seen you guys together. We'll go back to 2017. Obviously, we've spoke about the match with Drew Galloway, but you also managed to get a WWE tryout in 2017, didn't you? That's one of those experiences that not a lot of people get that opportunity, but you did. After a year or 2 of being on the scene.
Yeah. I think it was like a year, and then obviously I did. We'll talk about it in a bit. Like I did the TV show, and then it's so vivid. We were driving to the airport to fly out to Orlando for the first ever WrestleMania that I'd been to, because I'd never been. And the email literally came through on my phone as we were driving to the airport to go to America, and it was like, you've been invited to the WWE tryout in the UK. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, so I'm about to fly to America for the first time to watch WrestleMania, and then when I get back, I've got a match with Drew, and now I've got a WWE tryout, and so my head's just like, what, But yeah, like the tryout was good. I think I did well. Like I think going in, like a lot of the guys were like, Adam, if they're going to sign anyone to developmental in America, it's probably going to be you, because you haven't been wrestling that much, and like you look how you look, and you're athletic and you've got all the potential for them to mold like you into something. So I guess like in my head I was maybe thinking, this is going to happen, like I'm going to get signed, and my dream of living in America and stuff, and it didn't happen, and I didn't get signed after try. And I think I was maybe bummed down for like a week or so, and then I got just a motivated guy that I am. I was like, I could have been like there and then, okay, well, they've had a chance to have a look at me and they didn't see anything yet, so I'm done. Like, I have a chance. But I didn't. I said, okay, well, maybe they're thinking, is this guy just using a TV show to all of a sudden come into the wrestling industry? Like, I think maybe part of it was, let's see how bad he wants it, really. So I got my like motivated head down, and I said, right, okay, I'll put in the work. I'll make that much of a name for myself on the scene that they'll have to sort of keep an eye on who I am. And it did pay off, because then like 2 years later, I did get the able again saying, like, I got an email sort of saying, we've been keeping an eye on you and we're interested in NXT UK, bringing you into NXT UK. And I haven't really spoke about that too much detail, but I know that there is a lot of interest there still, and I'm kind of in a contract with another company at the moment and stuff. But who knows in the future, like towards the end of this year, if stuff goes back to normal, then I just know that like they keep an eye on me and they are interested in stuff, and it's through the hard work that I've done the past couple of years. Exactly,
and you kind of took the words out of my mouth there. I think the one thing that you keep hearing about Adam Maxted, and one thing that I've noticed, especially when we've kind of crossed paths, is that dedication, the hard work, the determination, and just how you are backstage. You're very kind of switched on, friendly. You always want to learn more. And I think, obviously, the likes of WWE are going to catch on to that. There's not many people that they invite in that just know the business like that.
I think as well, it's like no one came to me saying, Adam Maxted, you should be a wrestler. So I've invited myself into this industry or this business, so it's up to me to respect it enough to give my all to try and learn as much as I can. So although I'm wrestling like full time now, and I'm wrestling sometimes 6 days a week, I know still that there's so much more that I need to learn about things. And like, although I'm getting, comfortable in the ring and my movement's getting good, like I know that I'm still like, I'm not green, but like I'm here compared to where, for example, say another 2-3 years, like the level I'll be then. Like, I think you should just never stop learning. Every time you step through the ropes, it is another opportunity for you to learn in front of, whether it's selling a move differently or taking more time for there's just like, people don't give professional wrestling enough credit, I don't think, because it is literally the hardest thing I've ever done, honestly. Like, you're out there, I train to look in shape, but then you're out there, you're performing, do you know what I mean? It's a mixture of everything.
Yeah, and I think one thing that every day's a school day, isn't it? And talking of that, you've kind of gone into training with several different people. Dean Allmark being one of them. One of the household names of UK British wrestling.
Yeah.
Who has it been training with somebody like that?
Dean's again, he's one of my, I'd say he's one of my closest friends now in wrestling as well. I can go to him, I do him about anything, even if it's outside of wrestling. He's just a good guy. He's a heart of gold. I mean, people think that I'm passionate about wrestling, but it'd be harder to find a guy that's more passionate about the business than Dean Allmark. You know what I mean? Because he just lives it. He just loves it. He's got his own training school, and he's, again, very similar to, like, I train with Rampage up here in Newcastle, but very similar. Yeah. Dean has just a very relaxed way of teaching, which makes you relax. Like, there's nothing worse than going into a seminar or a training situation where you're like intimidated or you're nervous, because then you're not going to come across the best way you could be. But when I train with Rampage and Dean, for example, like, I know that they're there from my best interest, that like, if I make a mistake, they're not going to laugh. Do you know what I mean? It's like, they're there to help me. And Dean is, honestly, I can't speak highly enough of, and the fact that as well, like, he's been wrestling like 20 years now, and again, when Progress and stuff, for example, are putting up like, who do you want to see in our tournament, like, how many tweets did Dean get? So it just shows within the wrestling world and the wrestlers, like, how well respected Dean Allmark is. And yeah, I love Dino. He's such a good guy.
He's a fantastic athlete, a great guy, and just really friendly as well.
Yeah.
And he's one of those that any aspect of the business, whether it be a host, a commentator, a wrestler, he's got something that he can advise and contribute. Absolutely. Kind of want to switch it up a little bit here. The Flex Diaries. The Flex Diaries. Yes. Now, Adam, these were something that you were... We only got a few episodes of the Flex Diaries, which were very entertaining. Obviously, you talked a lot about fitness, the gym, as well as your wrestling career. Now that your career in wrestling is kind of skyrocketing very quickly, can we expect a return of the Flex Diaries?
Of the Flex Diaries, yeah, like I guess, yeah. There was times when I'd walk past something and I'd be like, you know what, quickly just hit record, and I would just go off on one. And I think just recently I was just doing so much of like the Butland style of wrestling that my brain probably just focused to like, well, I'm not really that character, or I don't come across like that when I'm sort of at Butland's and stuff. And that was taking up like the majority of my calendar each year. Was like I was wrestling at Butland so much, and I was literally just this like big, like aggressive, fiery babyface. So whereas that's sort of my more cool, cocky, charisma kind of the Miz kind of character. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, and because I wasn't doing that much kind of places, I guess I was just like, I'll save it for when it's going to get the sort of exposure that it needs, or when I can use it to my advantage when I do have these matches or I am booked at these promotions. So definitely it'll return because I enjoy it. Like until you really get to know me, I'm just respectful, and I'm just like this nice guy, but I know like my personality, and like the guys that I really hang on for wrestling will tell you like how naturally funny I am and stuff, and how I don't like, people think, oh, your hair's always perfect and you look how you look all the time, so you must be so full of yourself. But I honestly, there's nothing better than like taking a piss out of yourself and having fun for the entertainment of others. Like, so I definitely, especially if I was somewhere at like NXT UK, for example, I'd love to be like that, like sort of Randy Orton mixed with a Miz kind of character that sort of doesn't respect what everyone's done to like make the brand what it is, or to get the brand. Like, I'll just be the guy that walks in and thinks, well, you were missing a superstar like me, and like I don't care about the hard work that you guys have done, because I'm just here to make money, and I'm just here to look good while doing it. And just, there's a lot of fun that I could have with definitely coming in as kind of like a heel cocky character. That's because I don't really think they don't have that sort of persona in the brand at the moment, sort of. So I think I'd fit in quite well doing something like that.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. And we've all seen your dance moves on social media.
Yep.
I might have to include a little
I'm just
clip
a weird guy. I'm just a weirdo.
Into the podcast for those who haven't seen them yet. So going on to more of the fun stuff as well. Obviously, you've got a varied music taste at the moment. You're digging the weekend. That's your gym workout motivation at the moment. What else is on Adam Maxted's playlist? When you go to the gym, when you keep fit, what's the playlist?
I have a very diverse. I mean, I love a bit of George Michael. And there's nice. Mornings when I'm in there making my eggs, I'll just be getting Smooth Radio put on straight away for those beautiful, gorgeous love songs, as they say. Every flipping advert they do, they're like, join us for more gorgeous love songs. I don't know why they say gorgeous. I feel like I have to get gorgeous in every advert or something. But I'm a big Chris Brown fan. Like, I love R&B music, but then especially for like a heavy leg day, I'll put on like Linkin Park or Limp Bizkit. Like, I love that sort of aggressive rock music as well.
Old school new metal.
I love a mixture of everything, but some you would look for my phone and there would be some raised eyebrows if you saw my gym playlist, for example. You'd be like, really? You can stay focused in the gym while listening to that? Like No Mercy, Where Do You Go, for example. Like, that's such a cheesy old 90s song, but just some of a good beat, gets me going.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I'm kind of similar in many ways. I have my punk, my emo, my rock, but then I have my dance and R&B, and even to the point where
some days you're just feeling different things, and you're just some days you're just in a different mood, and you just want to listen to someone that sort of reflects to how you're feeling. So
yeah, definitely. No, absolutely. Now, one thing we've kind of taken our time getting to is one of the big things and big reasons that certain people outside of wrestling may know you for. In 2016, you entered on season 2 of Love Island. You had a successful run. You came fourth. How was that experience? Obviously, you've been very outspoken, about admitting that this was a platform that you used to capitalize on your wrestling career.
Yeah.
So how was that experience?
So to most people that go on a show like that, they want to, this is just what I've seen from how people behave kind of after. Like, they have agents and things, and they have stuff like people handling their social media while they're inside the villa and stuff. But for me, that was never like my goal. Like, I didn't want to be a reality TV star. I just was like, here's an opportunity to get because again, like there wasn't really back then, there wasn't really many opportunities in Ireland to wrestle. So I kind of thought, maybe if I use this TV show, it would get my name out there as a wrestler, and kind of who knows what'll come from it. And if I'm honest, I didn't know even back then how big the UK wrestling scene was. I didn't realize that it was massive, because I was living in this bubble of just Ireland and like, okay, there's 2 or 3 promotions here, but maybe this TV me, get seen by WWE or get my name out there. And so when I went into that show, I definitely didn't come across like my true self. Like I was just talking about like my sort of bubbly personality and like cracking jokes all the time and I made people laugh and stuff, but I wasn't truly myself because I came into the show like a week late. So there was already people that had formed relationships and formed bonds there. So again, it was quite an intimidating kind of situation, especially when you're on TV and you're walking into like it's like leaving a school and joining a new school and it's your first day kind of. And I knew that there's big personalities there, so I was like, I'm not going to walk in and try and be Jack the Lad and try and like take over the show because people will just see right through that. That's not who I was anyway. So, and also like I didn't swear once. I was told by the producers, they were like, you were the only person on the whole show, this series, that didn't say like a proper bad swear word. Yeah. I didn't do anything with any girls on TV. I was respectful. And I guess some people thought that I was like, people tweeted like, is this guy just here for a holiday, or like Adam's coming across really boring? But for me, it was like, just go in, try and come across the nice guy, show glimmers of like personality and stuff, but hopefully it'll get me some exposure. And so like I didn't go on that show for what most people do, which is to be like Instagram famous or to be invited to these red carpet events and get all these sponsorships by these clothing companies and things. And that's cool, each to their own as well. Like if people do want to just be known for doing reality TV, that's just it's their life, like that's cool. But I just had a different goal, and that's why I did come across kind of different. And I knew I would have had more personality if the situation was different, but I just went in, put my head down, and the fact that I made it to the end of the show, the final, without even actually being in like a loving couple, which is the whole point of the show, kind of shows that the public got behind me and could see that I was just being myself kind of. And I had emails and contacts from people like big promotions in the UK that wanted to use me. Obviously, whether they thought I was good or not, it was probably like, we can make some money off using this guy from Love Island. And for me, it was like, well, here's my chance to start breaking into the UK scene. And touch wood, like I've said it before as well, like they could have used me, these companies could have used me for like 5-6 months and rode the wave of the sort of Love Island fame, and then all of a sudden being like, right, okay, we're not going to use him anymore. But I'm still getting used by these companies today because they've seen like, no, he has the potential to be a star in wrestling, and he is going to be something, and we want to like keep using him. And just for my attitude and my hard work and like dedication is why I'm still like, I'm busier than ever kind of, well, not before all this happened,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you couldn't have been that boring, Adam, if you came forth.
I guess.
Not everyone on social media is always right. But, at the same time, you've obviously achieved so much in such a short space of time.
Definitely. Yeah.
And, personally, from me speaking, from hanging out and from seeing each other at shows, I can't wait for the end of the year because I know that Adam Maxted is going to be bigger than ever. So, and I'm really excited to see where you go.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Gone Gold podcast, the first episode as well. And I can't think of a better guest, to be honest. So thank you very much for taking time out of that big fitness schedule. I'm going to go and make some banana peanut butter pancakes, which I saw on the Flex Diaries, because they taste really good.
Yes, they're... Yeah. And I'm going to go do a food shop now, stock up the fridge, and then hit some weights later. So,
nice.
But thank you for having me on for the first time, and I appreciate it. And
Brilliant.
To the people watching, just try and stay positive, try and stay motivated. Like you say, you're not alone. Everyone's in this together. We're all going through the same thing. And just use it productive, and hopefully it won't be too long till we're all either back watching wrestling shows or I'm back in the ring. I can't wait to be back in the ring, and we're doing the thing that we love, and hopefully we'll all appreciate it and the little things in life a lot more, when we're all able to do what we want to again. So thank you.
What a way to end the show. Adam Maxted, thank you very, very much, and we'll see each other really soon.
Thank you, dude.